The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and go! Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good! Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champs.
Foley three. Good! Foley ball. Back out Shelley. Three ball. Good! Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you, and a busy day. Where do we begin today on the show? I honestly, I had a great plan for the show today. Can we just take a moment here and tell you all this? I had a great plan for the show today. We've had Joevan Catron scheduled to come on the show for a few days now, since Saturday. Joevan's great. Those of you who remember the name from his Oregon basketball days, played from about 06, 07 to 2010, 2011 season. We're going to talk to him. We talked to him this morning, actually. And we're going to talk to him coming up in just a little while. Obviously, there are some things to discuss not related to Oregon basketball and Joevan Catron. So this is a very fluid and moving quickly type of situation. We'll tell you all we can on the show today as it pertains to football and what it could look like in basketball. And remember, today is also the day that the NCAA is going to be making a decision about the start of the basketball season too. And as of the 1 o'clock hour when we go on the air, there hasn't been an announcement yet. But the Pac-12 basketball community and the entire NCAA basketball community, I think, is very optimistic about that. Eric says, go Ducks, great show last night. Thanks. Yeah, we are going to do a full breakdown today also of our great Ducks show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed it. Okay, let's get into it. Today, the Big Ten announces it's playing football this fall. Announcement came this morning after medical officials presented safe return to play and all the guidelines, the plan that the Big Ten leaders approved. It is a big key to all this is the rapid daily testing, which is the same as the Pac-12 has in place. In fact, Pac-12 is the first Power 5 conference to do that. Every campus will have those Quidel rapid daily tests on campus by the end of the month. That was a huge key from the press conference this morning for the Big Ten signing off and saying that it was safe to return to play. Larry Scott issued a statement this morning. So I have a timeline to go through for you here. Commissioner Scott said, quote, "At this time, our universities in California, Oregon do not have approval from state or local public health officials to start contact practice. We are hopeful that our new daily testing capability can help satisfy public health official approvals in California and Oregon to begin contact practice and competition. We are equally closely monitoring the devastating fires and air quality in our region at this time. We're eager for our student athletes to have the opportunity to play this season as soon as it can be done safely and in accordance with public health authority approvals." To unpack that, one, the wildfires are still very, very much a concern. And I do want to take a moment and pause on our conversation here and remind everybody about the wildfires, and especially in the state of Oregon, there's supposed to be a thunderstorm moving through potentially Thursday and Friday. So please, let's all do our only rain dance and not any lightning. We do not need any more lightning at this time. And to all the firefighters out there that are fighting the fires, thank you. And to all of those of you like me, and in some cases much more severe than me, that were affected by these wildfires with your homes, we're thinking about you all. We are thinking about y'all. And that is a huge concern. It's still hazardous air quality in the Willamette Valley and particularly in Eugene-Springfield area. Workouts for the sports here at Oregon have had to change, have had to adjust. So what does all this mean, though, moving forward with wildfires and with the Big Ten returning to play? It looks like it's going to be the end of October, by the way, when that happens. We don't know what this means. We will see. And as I said, very fast moving because, in fact, just now, California Governor Gavin Newsom issued a statement on the Pac-12 returning to play. I don't even know if Scott's had a chance to grab it because it just came down the wire. So I'll just read it to you, so bear with us. You'll have to, unfortunately, just sit through my face for radio for those of you who are watching this show. Gavin Newsom said the following: when we put out guidelines a month or so ago, and we aligned them with the NCAA, there's nothing in the state guidelines that denies the Pac-12 from having conference games. There's nothing in these guidelines that denies these games from occurring. We put out very, I thought, thoughtful guidelines and, again, partnership with the NCAA about cohorting during workouts and practices. Now this manifests very differently depending on the sport. Basketball cohorting of up to 12 might be a little easier than football up to 12. Offensive teams, defensive teams are able to coordinate and practice. Nothing in the state guidelines deny the ability for the Pac-12 to resume. Quite the contrary, that has been a misrepresentation of the facts. Gavin Newsom, the California governor, continued to say, I talked to Larry Scott about 2 hours ago, we're committed to working with the Pac-12, working with the NCAA to keep our kids safe, to keep our coaches safe, to keep coaching staff, friends, and families safe, and to keep a larger campus community safe. Remember, these are student athletes. They are not isolated in a bubble like our NBA superstars are. So that was Gavin Newsom. That statement just issued from the California governor as we went on the air at 1 o'clock. Obviously, a lot to unpack here. We don't know what this all means, but I do want to reiterate a few things. And like I said, I actually had thought that I knew what I was going to say when we went on the air today at the beginning of the show. Then that statement from Gavin Newsom, the California governor, came just as we were going on the air. But I think that what I was going to talk about still stands. So everybody bear with me for a second. Scott and I had this conversation heading into the show today. We don't know exactly what this means moving forward. This has been the most fluid, rapid-moving news cycle that I've ever seen in sports. I'm sure it happens in news in general. I think about, elections and, some of the other big things that happen for journalists. But this has been the fastest-moving news cycle that I've been a part of. And I think it's been difficult for all of us to try to make sense of it all. And what I will say is that there's a lot of different opinions out there, some of which are from the average Joe like myself all the way to experts in infectious disease and doctors, and then everything in between. At the end of the day, we all don't really know answers to all of these questions. And it's unfortunate, I think, that there's just seems to be so much hate. And I think social media has really bred that. And it's difficult to see. I understand that there's differing opinions. I understand that there's probably a lot of people that don't really like me and the way that I go about doing the show and doing things. That's fine. But man, just the venom that I've seen on sports Twitter, it's something else lately. And I understand that this is bigger than sports. And there's a lot of things that are bigger than sports. And sports are supposed to be a fun thing and an escape. I've often said that the whole reason that we all love sports is because we probably all have a memory similar to one of my first memories, which is playing catch in the backyard with my dad. That's why we love sports. We love the games. We love the competition. And we just... I wish we would all remember that more. Especially because it gets put in perspective frequently when we have things like the wildfires, a global pandemic. I want everybody to know that, and this is just me speaking here, I really believe what I tweeted. Many of you probably saw my Twitter thread from this weekend. I really believe that we're all in this together, and we all have a lot of differences. And that's good to have those differences and to have an involved, nuanced conversation about all these things. I don't have answers. I don't think a lot of people have a lot of answers. And I just hope that we can all be friends again. You know, Scott and I joked that today we should probably just, for 15 seconds, just play Why Can't We Be Friends? We be friends. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Can we all just remember that right now?
I don't remember the rest of it.
I mean, that's the part you need to know.
Right.
But I think that, you know, we like to have fun, obviously, on this show, and we joke at times, but there are some serious things going on in the world. And I just thought that, like, that song, to me, it's just an example of we got to remember that we are going to have different opinions, and we are going to have some unpopular opinions at times. I know I do. And this sucks. All of this sucks. Believe me. I'm right there with you. As soon as we can safely get back to sports and get back to life, I want to do it. And I will also say, and I think I echo a lot of things that a lot of people are feeling, is that it's not my decision on when we do these things. And I've had some folks be like, well, you haven't said what you believe. Who cares what I believe? Honestly, I feel pretty strongly about that. I've often said that the point of this show is to highlight the great stories of our coaches and student athletes and connect them to fans. No one cares what I think. In fact, all of my coworkers in this building will be able to confirm this, that I say that frequently, that no one cares what I think. Just, we want to hear from the coaches and student athletes. I say the same thing with all of these different opinions and takes on, yeah, let's play, let's not play, and whose decision is it? Well, at the end of the day, it's not mine. And it's not really my place to sit here and advocate one way or the other. But what I am going to advocate is for everybody to be friends again. Just remember that song. Play that song again. Dance to it like Scott does. And when it can be done safely, and when people that are much smarter than me say that it can be done safely, then we can play. Many of you have probably seen the social media today, both the good and the bad and the ugly. You've seen a lot of the same things that I have from people that want to compete. I think we all want that. So hopefully we can all find a way to do it safely, and let's all be friends again, huh? All right, we're going to get a timeout, come back. I hope that, I don't know, was a decent show open. I guess we'll find out when I see the ratings here after the show. Our Great Ducks recap, I do want to talk about that. And seriously, awesome conversation with Joevan Catron. And I mean awesome. Really great to talk with the former Duck standout. We're going to do that coming up here next. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for joining us. It's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Back inside the Country Financial Studio after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio to follow up on a couple things as we were talking about this rapidly changing and moving thing, I guess, around us. Is that the California governor held a press conference. You know, I'm seeing all the same thing that you guys are, where it's, you know, you can play based on the guidelines. However, as the governor mentioned, then they had a pod of 12 people. Obviously, that's very difficult to do in a football practice. And look, I don't know. I just don't. And it's exhausting. I think all of us feel that way, that we all want to do this safely. Can we all just agree on that? Like, let's just stop with this. Anything other than doing it safely. We always want to do it safely. Yeah. So there's still obviously a lot to figure out. Big Ten is returning to play. What that means for the Pac-12, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to follow all the same stuff that you guys are, and in the meantime, as we try to put our heads on straight and things can stop spinning for once, that's not going to happen. I'd like to talk to Joevan Catron. He was outstanding. So let me first say that we talked to Joevan earlier, and Scott, being the keeper of our archives, he jumped in and found an awesome highlight. And I want to start with this because we talked to Joevan about it. And just let's just flash back to happier times.
Right side to Garrett Sim. 7, 6. Armstead over to Singler. Going to try to penetrate with a shot. Good! 2 seconds. 2 seconds left. Singler hit the shot. Out of the back court. Throw it to Maniga. Shot at the buzzer. No! Oregon has won it. The Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won the CBI championship.
Boy, and they flooded the floor quick, didn't they? That was Jerry Allen on the call when the Ducks won the CBI back in 2011. Joevan Catron was on that team. We had a lot of fun catching up with Joevan Catron. Part 1 of our 3-part interview as we talk with the former Duck men's basketball standout. I've been looking forward to this interview since Joevan and I talked this past weekend. Joevan Catron, our guest, because, Joevan, when you reached out to me on Twitter, I was like, this is great. This is perfect. I want to talk to Joevan Catron, and we're going to talk to him for like 20 minutes on the show because we can. So first of all, sir, how the heck are you? I mean, and where are you joining us from right now?
I'm doing well. I'm actually at work right now. I work for Pacific Office Automation here in Eugene. So decided to, move here and live here where I went to school, and family's here now. So here in town.
That's awesome. Well, I have a lot of things to ask you about, and I think fans would love to hear. But, Joevan, this is something that everybody has to do. It's sort of a rite of passage for the first time that they come on the show. You're going to have to remind fans about you a little bit with your 2-minute life story. So the 2-minute life story of Joevan Catron. I am timing you, so go.
So, I moved out here from Phoenix, Illinois in 2006. Came from Thornton Township High School. When I got here in 2006, on the Ducks basketball team. We went to the Elite Eight, which we kind of started that run of Oregon basketball taking a leap when I first got out here. Had some up and down years, throughout my career with injuries, and then we didn't make the tournament a couple years. Fast forward to 2011, after my medical red shirt, had one of the greatest times of my life, playing for Coach Altman, and us winning the CBI tournament was kind of a starting point for where they are today, and it's just been amazing to watch those guys do what they've been doing. And then went overseas, played for a couple years in Australia, Japan, then got injured with the Springfield Armor in the NBA D League, and after that decided to call it quits. Did a little bit of coaching, and then came to work for Pacific Office, fell in love with it, and been here for the last, about 5 years now. So, like getting out, seeing all the people that supported us over the years and supported me over the years and the Ducks, and it's just been awesome. So I don't have any complaints right now.
That's great. That's what I love to hear. And everybody's been kind of talking about how the world has changed, Joevan. I mean, we were talking before we hit record here that it's a little different for you trying to become a teacher here during these times, right? Just like a lot of us.
Yeah, teachers should definitely get paid whatever they want to get paid. It's pretty hard to manage, not toddlers, but kiddos from the ages, small kiddos. I have a 4-year-old right now, and he's just bouncing off the walls. And I'm thinking, if there's 20 of you in a classroom, how does the teacher do it? And so salutes to all the teachers out there, man. It's a tough job.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that everybody has started to kind of be like, man, this is no joke. I mean, and I think we all knew it. Now we really know it for sure. Joevan Catron is our guest. I want to go back in time with you a little bit if we could, Joevan. And I think that you have a lot to be proud of in your career because, like you mentioned, you played in those 36 games, going to the Elite Eight, and just your career, I feel like you must have so many Duck memories that you think about and that you come back to. I want to talk to you about that, but also let's first say, why did you choose Oregon, and what brought you to Oregon in the first place?
So I was recruited by a lot of Midwest schools, a couple West Coast schools. Arizona, Oregon were the main two kind of after me. But Kenny Payne, he was we instantly clicked. And once I met him and then got to, I got out to Oregon and really got to meet him, really got to get to know him. It was like, all right, this is where I want to be. This guy, he had the trust of me, my family. My family clicked with him when he came on the visit to my home. And I have a tough family, so when they was like, yeah, he's a good guy, that made the choice really easy.
So you're telling me, and now I have to back up just a hair here, because if I'm not mistaken, your middle name is Eugene, right?
How ironic, right?
So you're telling me that had nothing to do with you picking Oregon and University of Oregon in Eugene, Oregon?
It had nothing to do with it. It wasn't until after the fact that I really realized that was a thing. I should have put that out there a little bit more.
What I gotta tell you, Joevan, I didn't realize that until about 3 days ago when I was looking, and it says it, Joevan. It says it like on your old GoDucks.com bio. Born Joevan Eugene Catron. I just went, that's not that can't be right. So that's amazing. That's really cool. How big of a deal was that freshman year for you, Joevan, and making it as far as you guys did in the tournament? Because and I got to tell you, so we have a couple posters up here in the studio. One of them's from that 02 Elite Eight appearance, but that 06 Elite Eight appearance was just such a huge deal for Oregon basketball. I mean, just could you kind of take fans back in time, talk about that season, just what it meant for you guys and for Oregon basketball?
Yeah, so that year came in with Tawan and Kendrick that year, and our goal was to definitely play and to help put Oregon basketball back on the map. After Freddie and Luke had those runs, it kind of had a dip there for a few years, and nobody was really talking about Oregon basketball. So our goal was to, push as hard as we could, and we knew we had a lot of talent, but we wanted to, make a run and put Oregon on the map. And AB that year, along with Tawan, they went crazy, and we were there along for the ride, and just help pushing those guys. So it was very, very important that we had the success early, because it gave us something to push for, later in our careers to try to get back to and help, push the younger guys that was coming in, incoming classes that was coming in to say, hey, this is what we're trying to get to.
We're going to continue our conversation with Joevan Catron, including that CBI win that you heard the highlight of in just a little bit. Stick with us. We got a lot more still to come. It's a fast-moving news day on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Back inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar presents an original that's now maybe even better. Mary had a little lamb.
Mary had a bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar with the same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Mary had a bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar that's taste was as good as the original, maybe even better.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar, as good as the original, maybe even better.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics, because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm place on a cool day. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. This is a cool comment from Jeffrey. Joevan Catron, a player I always love to watch 100% every minute. Heady player, always delivered. A great team leader. So nice to see him today. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's something that we wanted to do on the show. Slow-moving news day for Joevan to come on today. It was funny. I talked to him about that. I was like, man, I'm sorry that we scheduled you on a day like this. And he was like, it's all good. Slow-moving news day today. Yeah. Okay, Joevan Catron. We were talking, though, about some of his favorite Duck memories. That CBI championship year, first year for Coach Altman, last year for Joevan Catron. We talked to him about that year in particular as we continued chatting with Joevan. I loved watching that 06-07 team. And Joevan, I'm curious. You guys went 19-2 at home that season. And I wanted to ask you just about Matt Court. I mean, Give us all your perspective of what it was like playing at Mac Court.
So Mac was definitely a home court advantage. A lot of people that was, around Oregon in the older days, they really missed backcourt because of the feel that it had. It was an older stadium, and then you have the crowds right on top of the the court. So the rims are shaking, and it got really loud in that place, and it got really hot too. But it was a fun place to play, especially being at home. Like people couldn't come in there and just beat us. It was the crowd and the environment was amazing.
You were part of those squads that were really the transition from Matt Court to Matthew Knight Arena. What was that like for you guys, kind of going through that process of seeing Matthew Knight Arena being built? Now you've been to that venue so many times, Joevan. I mean, just what was that process like, seeing that get built 10 years ago?
It was crazy because it was promised to a lot of guys. Like, we're going to build this arena. It's coming, it's coming, and they're building, and they broke ground on it, and a lot of guys committed and missed out on playing in that state, in Matthew Knight. So the transition, I think, was a breath of fresh air, not just for, myself, but for the city. It was something new, that wasn't football related or track related, and the team just kind of rejuvenated because we were playing at MAC for half the season in 2011, and then once we switched over, I think it was just a breath of fresh air, and we got some wins in Matthew Knight.
What do you remember about those first games at Matthew Knight?
It was electric. That arena is better than some NBA stadiums. Like it's state of the art, and I didn't know how we were going to feel it at first. I was like, that's kind of big, for a college sound. But so when we opened it and it was, pretty close to, selling out, I was like, wow, like the support is there. Now we just got to make sure we sustain having a good program and make sure we fill these seats.
Joevan Catron, our guest, reminiscing a little bit. I've asked you about some specific times in your career, some favorite Duck memories that you could share with fans.
So I have a couple. The time when we won the Pac-12 tournament down in LA, just because I'm a huge Kobe fan, and then we won that tournament, and was able to cut down the nets, and Staples Center that was very it sticks out as a moment. It sticks out in my mind. Let's see, the run on the Elite Eight. Just going from city to city, and winning these games, that entire process was I'll never forget that run either. And then finally winning the CBI, that was huge for me. That was kind of the team I had to myself pretty much. I was the Lone Ranger from that class that came in, and to get to the CBI championship and win it, and then to get MVP, that was kind of my shining moment.
We actually, I got to tell you, Joevan. So Scott has been filming stuff at the University of Oregon for 20 years now. I mean, and so Scott actually, when I told him that you were going to come on the show today, immediately went over to our archive computer, pulled out Jerry's call of you guys winning, and I got to tell you, just the celebration, Joevan, just the happiness on the court was. You could just feel it. I mean, you could see it. So I'm glad that you feel that way, because I felt that watching as a fan. I was like, this is awesome, And you touched on it, Joevan, that was kind of the catapult in the Coach Altman era. I mean, how much pride do you have to say, you know what, we started it, and look at what they've been able to do now?
Yeah, I mean, I love it, man. I still talk to Coach Altman to this day, and to see where they've taken the program is this is what we all envision, when we committed to Oregon. We want to be a powerhouse. We want to be known nationally as, one of the best basketball schools, and that's what they've taken it to. So yeah, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Coach Altman and the staff over there on what they're doing.
You dealt with adversity in your career with injuries throughout in college and when you moved on to play professionally. What was that process like, and how much maybe did it kind of help you grow dealing with that adversity? And maybe the follow-up there, Joevan, is what advice would you give to student athletes now who are dealing with injuries, and how are you able to bounce back the way that you were?
Growing up, and it's like, okay, you set your goals and like, all right, I want to get to the NBA. And so injury is part of the game, and you don't want to let that stop you from getting to your goals, right? So every time it happened, that became the focus. Like, okay, I can't let this injury stop. How do I attack it? Okay, Clay, what do we need to do to get me back? How long is it going to take? And, and keep moving from there. Then, injuries, it made me feel like I could bounce back from anything because of the injuries I had. I mean, it was tough. But the guys coming up now, I would say definitely don't stop, because the resources and the tools that they have now to get guys back is amazing. Like, guys are tearing ACLs and bouncing back, within the 4 or 5 months. And it's like, before that was like a career-ending,
Right.
injury. But, with how technology and stuff is improving, I would say definitely keep grinding at it.
Hearing Joevan talk about that, it was interesting for me, because it's not really all that long ago that he played. I mean, we're talking a decade ago now, almost a decade ago, but it's changed so much. Yeah, we're going to continue our conversation with Joevan Catron. He was talking there about Clay Jamison, the Oregon athletic trainer. A lot more on that still to come. A great shout-out for Clay Jamison from Joevan that I want to unpack for you a little bit. Duck Insider Day brought to you by North Fork Public House, open for dine-in and takeout, northforkeugene.com. We're going to continue our conversation with Joevan Catron right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports-watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink, because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Joey Mack welcoming you back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union inside the Country Financial Studio, where today's show is brought to you by Jackson's Food Stores, a proud sponsor of the University of Oregon Ducks, with everyday specials on all the necessities you'll need. Go Ducks, thanks to Jackson's. We got your Cafe 2-minute drill coming up in just a little while. A few things to touch on, including our Great Ducks show from last night that you could find on the Oregon football social media channels. We went through the wide receiver position. I think we mentioned 17 different guys by the time the show was over. Some great ones, though, and it was a lot of fun. I hope that everybody enjoyed it. Back to basketball, though. Today is the day that the NCAA is going to make a call on what's going to happen with basketball and what the start date could look like, and hopefully answering some questions for all of us. And so, hey, we're celebrating by talking to a former Duck in Joevan Catron. Continuing on the note of Clay Jamison, the Oregon athletic trainer for men's basketball, one of the longest tenured athletic trainers around. And it was great hearing Joevan talk about him, and we had a little bit of fun with Joevan Eugene Catron. We continue. I love the shout out to Clay Jamison. That's who Joevan's referring to, the athletic trainer for Oregon basketball for a long time now. He's one of the longest tenured athletic trainers, not just at Oregon, but in the Pac-12. How much did Clay help you, Joevan? I mean, and just, you had a smile on your face when you said, "Hey, Clay, let's figure this out." I mean, it's not just the coaches. I think fans would get a kick out of this, that there's a support staff for you guys too.
Yeah, man, Clay behind the scenes, he was amazing. Like how he helps guys, keep your body right or to recover. Like he does an amazing job. I don't think he get enough credit because he's behind the scenes. There's late nights, and if he have to, on the road, he's bringing ice to rooms and all this kind of stuff that people don't see. And he's one of the main faces that keeps that team rolling. Keeping guys healthy. While I was there, I saw Clay a lot more than I wanted to.
Right.
But we grew to have a good friendship. I still call him this day when things are sore on me or aching me. I still give Clay calls. And I had my first son while I was in school, and he was, just kind of coaching me through that process and helping me, sore here and there, and he was, helping me out. So Clay is definitely an important piece to Oregon basketball.
He is also an expert when it comes to identifying wet spots on the floor. I don't know, was he Joevan, was he doing that? Was he as good at that when you were playing as he is now? Because and like we're laughing because we always give Clay a hard time. It's actually a huge deal. Like Clay will be directing the mop-up crew. Like there's a sweat spot, because he doesn't want anybody to slip, don't want anybody to pull anything. I mean, we joke, but like it does have value. I mean, Joevan, you're laughing, but like was he as good then as he is now at that?
It's funny now. When we were playing, we used to be like, "Man, Clay, like you always on the floor. Like get off the floor. Like we're trying to get this game going, right?" But now that I'm watching it, like it makes all the sense in the world. Like okay, yes, it's his. I don't know if it's even his job to, do that, but he makes sure that it's a safe environment for the players to play, and it makes. It makes it a lot easier for him if guys not slipping and busting their heads.
That's what I was going to say.
You have to worry about.
That's what I was just going to say. Like I've always said to Clay, like this is self-preservation for you, because Clay doesn't want anybody to be like, well, I slipped on a pile of sweat, and then he's going, God, I mean, I get it. That's so funny. I'm glad that you laughed at that, just like I was hoping you would. Joevan Catron is our guest. Hey. I've always asked everybody that's played for Coach Altman, and like a lot of coaches, he has certain phrases, Coach Altman-isms, if you will. Yeah. And I have asked players this in the past. When you were playing after you were at Oregon, and maybe even in your daily life now, Joevan, does your inner monologue ever have some of those Coach Altman-isms in it?
Yeah, for sure. So I got a 10-year-old son. Well, he'll be 10 Friday, but I got a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old. So they're playing sports, and I told Jovi, who's the younger one, I was like, you got to bend, excuse my French, I was like, you got to bend your effing knees. And that was one thing that made all the sense in the world when Coach Altman came in and he was, we got to go, let's go. Like that's how he came in every day. And so that kind of stuck with me. And then bending your knees to do anything in sports, it makes all the sense in the world. And you actually have to do it. Guys be like, oh, I don't need to, or I don't want to. But if you want to be good and elite at, a sport, you have to bend your knees to be able to react in an elite time.
I was talking.
So those stick out. Those stick out for me. Yeah, is the bend your knees and let's go.
So I've talked to a couple other pro Ducks and former Ducks, Joevan, and they all say like, yeah, every now and then I just hear Coach Altman in my head, just over and over again. You know, I always, it's funny because I've picked up a lot of them too. You know, like you said, the let's go. You know, and now I say it sometimes. Like on a broadcast even, I'll be like, oh, there's Coach saying let's go. You know, and that's funny. Joevan Catron joining us. You catch as many games as you can now, Joevan. I mean, I imagine that you must be trying to keep up with this team as much as possible.
Yeah, man. If I'm not at work, I went to a lot of games last year, home games. I had plans to go to the Pac-12 tournament in Vegas, but the whole COVID thing hit us. So the day I think they were supposed to play, we were supposed to fly down, and then they started canceling everything. So, so we didn't make it down there. So. This year, I don't know what's what to expect or what's going to happen, but I do try to get out to many games as I can.
Yeah, we're all hoping for cautious optimism, I think, around basketball now moving forward. That's for sure. All right, I got to ask you another fun question. We mentioned your middle name, Joevan, but has anybody told you that in the broadcast world you have one of the best names to say? Like, it's just so perfect. Like, exactly. Scott just said it's a strong name. I've talked to Jerry Allen about this before, Joevan, and like, so you're well aware that your name is just like awesome sounding, right?
Like my high school, when they used to say my whole name, like anytime I did anything, and they used to, like, oh, like my name kind of rhymes. This sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then when I got out to Oregon, I just kind of fell in love with it. It made me like my name a lot more.
Good. You should. It's awesome. Every time I introduce you, it's always like, oh, yeah, that's a good strong name.
People
I love
usually don't forget it. There's not a lot of Joevans either. So
that's true.
There's not a lot of us out, especially out here in Eugene. Usually people know it's me if you say my name.
Right. Hey, that's good. A lot of Duck fans around. All right, I got to ask you, too. You talked a little bit about advice for guys who have gone through injuries. I always like to ask guys that have been through the wars, Joevan, just what advice would you give to prospective and current student athletes? I mean, just do you have some words of wisdom for folks that are going through the wars now?
Yeah, like I said, just it's going to be ups and downs, regardless of how you come in. Don't think that you're entitled to, things. Like, you just have to go out, work, prove yourself. Your time's definitely going to come if you put the work in. And don't let the adversity get you down. Just keep grinding through it. Never stop.
I love that. Joevan Catron. Hey, this was great. We talked to you for like 25 minutes. And so I got to say thanks for doing it. And, hopefully we're back doing in-person broadcasts sooner than later, because you're going to have to come down and do a little color analyst with me, all right? Because you're going to be able to break stuff down, and then you can really go through all the Coach Altman-isms on the broadcast with me.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly what he's going to say when he's going to get ready to say it.
That's perfect. I love it. Joevan, this was great. My best to you and your family. Stay safe, and good luck the rest of the way, and hopefully we'll be able to catch up with you again soon. This was fun. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, no problem at all, Mac. Anytime.
That was fun, catching up with Joevan Catron. I had the pleasure of having him on a broadcast when Oregon was at Michigan. And I told him after that, I was like, you're the good luck charm. I mean, the way that Oregon won that game, good luck charm. Yeah, it was really cool catching up with Joevan Catron. Some really great stories, too. I've always said this, that I'm sad that I never got to call a game at Mac Court. Because I've heard some of the stories from Jerry and Terry and John Lundquist, our statistician, and fans alike, that it was just crazy sometimes there. I thought that was funny when Joevan was like, yeah, it also just got really hot. So I asked Scott Phillips, I mean, he filmed a lot of games there, so is that, like, was that a thing?
Oh, yeah, it was hot. I mean, you get that many people in that crowded of an arena like that, it gets hot.
Well, that makes sense. That was great, catching up with him. I hope that everybody really enjoyed that. One of the things that Joevan and I were talking about even after we recorded that interview this morning, too, is getting some of those other guys from that era of basketball on. I've had the pleasure to talk with a lot of different guys in the Coach Altman era. We've had Luke Jackson on the broadcast a couple times, and I want to do more of that. I think that it's really cool to stay connected to those graduates and those alums. So I hope that we'll be able to do that more and more as we move forward. Today's show brought to you by Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resort just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. I do want to talk a little bit more about our Great Ducks show. The wide receiver position is what we featured last night. I'll give you our full list of who we picked for our Great Ducks wide receiver list when we come back. Also, your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill after this. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Time for your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. A lot going on today. Was it a slow news day? I don't know. I haven't really seen anything. Nothing happened today. The Big Ten has announced that it will return for fall football at the end of October. What that means for the Pac-12, we don't know. Still trying to sort it out. And I just hope that we can get back to some sort of normalcy once we can do it safely. We can all agree on that. Leaving it at that. Why can't we be friends? Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Satu Sabali has been named to the WNBA All-Rookie team. She averaged nearly 8 rebounds per game in her rookie season. Congratulations to Satu Sabali. How about the Nuggets last night? Let's go, Bulls team. One of my friends, shout out to my buddy Justin, longtime Blazers fan, also a huge LeBron fan, but he has officially jumped on the Nuggets bandwagon. He actually texted all of us in our old college friends group thread. He got himself a Bol Nuggets jersey, but it didn't arrive in time for Game 7 last night. So he was like, guys, they better win. Otherwise, I don't know when I'm going to wear this jersey. And then the Nuggets won, so we're all excited about it because now Justin's got his Bull jersey to wear. So, Bull, good luck. I hope that Bull just stays in Denver and really next year I think could become a true contributor, having regular minutes for that team. I think it could happen. So, a huge comeback. 6-0 in elimination games for the Nugs. Really pretty impressive. So congratulations to Denver and beyond. My another good friend of ours, Bart, huge Nuggets fan. I don't know that I've ever seen him happier. And an old friend of ours, Colin Deaver, as well. He was the sports director at KWVA before I was, the student radio station here at Oregon. And Colin is also a huge Nuggets fan. So I just have a lot of shout-outs for Nuggets fans, apparently, right now that I didn't even realize I was going to do on the show today. Basketball decision from the NCAA today. So it's almost 2 o'clock. Nothing from the NCAA yet, but I will echo what Mark Campbell and Mike Menega, two assistant coaches for Oregon women's basketball and Oregon men's basketball, respectively, said that there's some cautious optimism out there with getting basketball in the NCAA up and running. I think we can all hope that happens with some of that cautious optimism. We'll break all that down for you on the show tomorrow. And there you go. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. 2-minute drill always brought to you by Oregon and Washington Restaurants Cafe Yum, where special diet requests and custom orders are always welcome. Menus and nutrition info, cafeyum.com. So our Great Ducks show last night. Thanks to everybody for joining us. A lot of fun. And I'll be honest, we had some hiccups because we're having people connect from actually 6 different places. It's wild what we can do with technology. My thanks to Scott Labounty and Chuck Poe and Scott Phillips for getting the video portion up and running, and Mitchell Lee back in the radio studio for our entire Oregon Sports Network staff. It was really fun talking with Terry Johns, Mike Jorgensen, Jerry Allen yesterday. And I've been saying that I was just going to get the heck out of the way and let those guys tell stories. That's exactly what we did, and we barely fit it into an hour. It was a lot of fun. So our master list, if you will. So I kind of kept like a master list of guys that showed up on all of our lists that we submitted. Patrick Johnson, obviously, with the catch. This is in no particular order. Bob Newland, Josh Huff, Keenan Howry, Demetrius Williams, Sammy Parker, Braylon Addison, Christian McElmore, Jeff Mayle, Dylan Mitchell, Jason Williams, Tony Hartley, Joe Reitzig, and Bobby Moore. Now, I will say, for Bobby Moore, Ahmad Rashad, he was sort of wasn't necessarily controversial, but he was actually on my running backs list that we're going to do later on. Terry mentioned him at wide receiver. Jorgie brought him up a little bit. So, yeah, I guess you'd call him a receiver. All-purpose. It's like DeAnthony Thomas. We mentioned him as well. A couple others like Terry Obi, Damon Griffin, J.J. Burden. Byron Marshall had a 1,000-yard season. It's a lot of fun going through. We're going to do cornerbacks next Tuesday. Tomorrow on the show, Mike Duncan, Senior Associate Athletic Director. Talk to you then.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not